We have AOC. She's on NBC Meet the Press. Why, you might ask? Of all the people that Chuck Todd could bring on, why? She's a left-wing bomb thrower. She is a lunatic. She is apt to say things that are way over the top, and that's exactly what Chuck Todd wants, because he's all those things times 100. Chuck Todd is a Democrat activist. His wife is a Democrat activist. He's on TV. He uses the same talking points that they use and vice versa. And I want you to listen to some of this. Go.
I believe that the president and the Democratic Party needs to come to terms with is that this is not just a crisis of Roe. This is a crisis of our democracy. The Supreme Court has dramatically overreached its authority. We had 2 conservative senators in the United States.
All right, hold on a second. The Supreme Court overreached its authority by saying we don't have power to rule on a matter that's not in the Constitution? Now, a Marxist like her wants the court to overreach, but she wants the court to do what she wants the court to do. So what the court did was wholly constitutional. It upheld the Constitution, and it showed enormous restraint, particularly given all the threats of violence that these justices have faced. Notice the left-wing justices never face threats of violence, no matter how idiotic their activist decisions are. Go.
Senator Manchin and Senator Collins come out with a very explosive allegation that several Supreme Court justices misled them during.
No, nobody was misled. We looked at the statements. I have, others have, and Collins and Manchin and the others are just upset this court did what it did, so they're looking for political excuses. These justices or justice nominees at the time said exactly what Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, exactly what Kagan said, exactly what Sotomayor has said, exactly what all modern-day justice nominees have said when asked the question, is Roe v. Wade or some other case, is that the law of the land? And they'll say, it is the precedent of the Supreme Court that deserves stare decisis. It deserves respect. That is the precedent. That's different from saying, it's the law forever, and I promise you I will never rule on any aspect of it counter to what they did in the past. Any judge or justice nominee who says such a thing is unqualified. So what Kavanaugh and Gorsuch did is they saw what the other justice nominees said, and they basically said the identical thing. When confronted with Roe versus Wade or some of these other decisions, Casey and so forth, they said the same thing. It is the precedent of the Supreme Court. It deserves respect. That doesn't mean it cannot be reviewed under other circumstances and changed. Like Dred Scott, like Plessy versus Ferguson, like Korematsu. Just keep in mind, justices are of flesh and blood. They are men and women just like you. They are lawyers in black robes. They really did win the lottery, plucked from obscurity for the most part, and appointed to one of the most powerful positions in our government with lifetime appointments. So they're not going to say, yes, I will never do this, or yes, I will always do that, beyond general comments and respect and support for the Constitution. Go.
Their confirmation hearings and in the lead up to their confirmation, this is a crisis of legitimacy. We have a Supreme Court justice whose wife participated in January 6th and who used his seat to vote against.
So what if she participated in January 6th? Did she commit a crime? So now everybody who participated in January 6th is forever to wear a scarlet letter? Can they get employment? Can they get a government job? Is that going to be the first question asked every time they dare to lift their voices and their heads above the tree line in order to make a comment? Is that what's going to happen now? You're part of January 6th? These are the same Democrats in her case who went out to the streets and told the people to rally, to not tolerate what the Supreme Court has done, the same party that is promoting violence against Supreme Court justices with their unhinged propaganda, who have not denounced an individual who was caught preparing to assassinate a Supreme Court justice, that party? Go ahead.
documents that potentially led to evidence of such to investigators in Congress. This is a crisis of legitimacy, and President Biden must address that.
It's interesting you say that. I want to put up the Joe Manchin quote in particular on his reaction, because he used the word, he said, they testified under oath.
Now, all of a sudden, they like Joe Manchin. Have you noticed? Now they're quoting Joe Manchin. I've always said Joe Manchin is a pretty stupid guy. Go ahead.
He made sure that was in his release. It sounds like you believe, okay, that he might as well be saying they lied to him, that he feels like they lied to him and they lied under oath. You think the House...
Well, if they lied to him, so did the liberal justices when they said exactly the same thing, and yet also said that they cannot say how they would rule. Every one of them has said that. Now, Chuck Todd knows this. I'm not playing this really because of AOC or Manchin. I'm playing this because of Chuck Todd. Chuck Todd is orchestrating this entire interview. They have their graphics ready and pushing the agenda to delegitimize the court, to delegitimize certain members of the court, to rally the Democrat Party mob in the streets, to show them that they have every reason to be angry and potentially violent. That's what Chuck Todd is doing. Go.
The committee should begin the process of an investigation there?
So should we investigate these Supreme Court justices? Remember what I said, there's separation of powers. I've said this all the time. Investigate Supreme Court justices. Investigate them for what? Go ahead.
If we allow Supreme Court nominees to lie under oath and secure lifetime appointments to the highest court of the land, and then issue...
The war on the Supreme Court by the Marxist left in this Democrat Party, in this media, is shockingly disgusting. And how they twist what justices say, how they twist what nominees say, how they push their propaganda like this is some street political activity is unbelievable to me. It is unbelievable what they've now done to the United States Supreme Court. They've degraded it. They have attacked its reputation. You can disagree with it. I wrote a whole book disagreeing with it. But I would never say the things that they say. Never. Go ahead.
Issue without basis. If you read these opinions, issue without basis.
Read these opinions. She didn't read the opinion. But look where it takes her. That's her problem. Like a good little Marxist, a good little Leninist. Read their opinion, ladies and gentlemen. She's upset with it. She didn't read it. She doesn't even understand it. Most of the people commenting about Roe v. Wade and Casey in this decision haven't even read them. Go ahead.
Rulings that deeply undermine the human and civil rights of the majority of Americans.
Undermine the civil rights of a majority of Americans. Did you catch that? We're talking about abortion, right? She can't say women. Even in her advocacy, as inane as she is, she can't say undermine a majority of women. Last time I checked, men don't have abortions. Just because she wants to believe differently doesn't make it so. And it doesn't mean we have to follow her off the stupid cliff either. And it doesn't undermine the views of a majority of women. Chuck Todd is such a fraud, such a propagandist. Why didn't he put on that screen what partial birth abortion looks like? Infanticide looks like? Because the vast majority of Americans, including women, oppose it. And that's what AOC believes in. They don't believe in any limits to abortion whatsoever, period. They're not talking about rape and incest and the health of the mother. They're not saying it ought to be rare and safe. They're saying abortion on demand, partial birth abortion, right up to the end, where you take a syringe like this, you shove it into the top of the head of the baby, you pull the syringe, you drain the brains out, you turn the baby around in the womb, and you pull it out by the feet. You think the American people support that? And that baby, according to the science, is not only a baby, it feels the pain. That's what she believes in. It's about time we had a debate on the facts.
For more, sign up for Levin TV.